welcome you to this webinar on Aalto University's communication engineering major. So today we will have here three speakers. So my name is Riku Jäntti and I'm a professor of communications engineering and the head of the department and also responsible for major. Then we have Jukka Manner, professor of networking technology, hanging from the roof, and then planning officer Eeva Halonen. So
hello.
So welcome on our behalf. So today we will first give a brief introduction to Aalto University, then we'll try to show you how this communication engineering major works and discuss some career possibilities, so what you could do once you have studied with us. And let me now show you Aalto introduction video for you.
We are Aalto.
We are the home of sparkling minds.
Where science and art meet technology and business.
Where bold thinkers become brave makers.
Where those who seek change become the change.
To restlessly challenge fixed thinking.
To fearlessly connect and collaborate.
To solve the wickedest of problems.
For those courageous enough to dream.
For those responsible enough to act.
For those willing to lead.
A radical rethink.
We are a story forever unfolding.
We are Aalto.
Okay, now, so Aalto University is a multidisciplinary community of both thinkers where science and technology meet art and business. And this slogan comes from the fact that Aalto University is actually a relatively new university. It was founded in 2010 by merging Helsinki University of Technology with University of Arts and Design and Helsinki School of Economics. So hence we combined these fields. So Jukka, so how is your Aalto history?
Yeah, also hello from my side from the roof. I don't know why Zoom likes to put me in this position, but I'll try to hang on and not drop down. But you know, so I was actually hired back in the days by Helsinki University of Technology. So I started here as a professor back in 2008. So I have a computer science background, and then eventually my employer changed names. So now I'm with Aalto University. And I guess Riku, you have a similar history.
Yeah, well, actually, I studied with the Helsinki University of Technology in electrical engineering and control engineering, and then when I got my doctorate in 2001, then I went to University of Vaasa. In 2006, I came back to Helsinki University of Technology, and then the name was changed in 2010, and I became one of the first associate professors, tenured associate professors of Aalto University, and nowadays I'm a full professor here. And the fact that we have arts and design with us is quite sort of apparent when you come to the campus. There are all kinds of interesting things happening here, and also a weird logo. Some people are wondering, well, now there's this exclamation mark, but it could be with hyphen or question mark. So our logo is actually supposed to be dynamics, changing randomly every time, but this template has just selected one of the possibilities. This was kind of also designed in our own art school. Okay, so this kind of a marketing slogan of Aalto is that you get more than a degree when you study with us. So Aalto University is one of the world's top universities, and it is definitely leader in its own fields in Finland. It's very international university, and we have very active community of researchers and students here. A lot of all kind of activities in the campus. This is the kind of startup hub of Finland, and we have large companies and small companies, all kind of companies around us. So there are plenty of career opportunities, and we will discuss about this later on. Okay. Now I see that slides were stuck. So this. But let's look at some of the rankings. So since we were established in 2010, we are actually still considered as a young university. So on the rankings of young universities, we are actually quite high up. So we are ranked 9th. We are considered to be very multidisciplinary. So multidisciplinarity between business, engineering, design, arts. So in that we ranked 23rd. And we are actually one of the most international universities in the world. So the ranking is 37. So I think nowadays the majority of the professors are non-Finns. Also, we are ranked quite high in this ranking in advanced responsible consumption and production. So sustainability is very important thing in our strategy. And then more specifically in the area of telecommunications, where we are talking about communications engineering major. So in this case in Shanghai, global ranking of academic subjects, we were ranked 14th. And so it's actually quite a high ranking in Europe. So there are many universities in ranking in China and in US, but then once we come to Europe, then there's us and some other top universities. Okay, so you saw in this video short clips of our campus. So we are located at the seaside. So we have the scenery is quite nice. So the whole university is located in one campus here in Otaniemi, where we have really great facilities for doing research and studying. And what is also very easy to commute. So we have the subway and there are bus lines, and they are building tram line there as well. But of course, it's because of this building, it's currently a big construction site. But in the campus development, we really try to emphasize sustainability and building kind of carbon neutral campus. That is, of course, not really ready yet. So this is a big part with sustainability in research, but also we want to not just do research, but be sustainable also in action. And Finland is quite a nice place, except for the dark cold winters. The society is very safe here. Our education system is quite famous. So if you have children, then the schools that we have are ranked quite high in the PISA. And also Finland has been doing very well in this World Happiness Index studies. And it is possible to manage in Finland in English language. So most Finns speak good English, or at least understand English. Of course, if you plan to make a career in Finland, it might be a good idea to study Finnish or Swedish. So Finland is a bilingual country, so the official languages are Finnish and Swedish. And as a country, in Finland, we have quite low hierarchy. So kind of try to be the organizations more flat and relaxed, and we want to support open communication, so also between the students and professors. And in Finland, so as a country, this is considered to be highly livable, except maybe the cold winter and dark. That's a small thing. and then especially our campus here and the Helsinki region is an ICT hub where there's a lot of all kind of things happening. Okay, maybe Jukka, if you could take over and describe the program for us.
Yeah, so I'll again try not to fall down. This is funny. I even rebooted my machine and I'm still upside down, but anyway. So maybe I'll give you quick overview of studying here, and just to kind of maybe start with just the formalities of what the names are. So we have a joint master's program which is called Computer Communication and Information Sciences, and that is a master's program set up jointly with our department and some other department, that's electrical engineering, and then the computer scientists, which are in another school at Aalto. So Aalto has 6 different schools, and they are in the School of Science, and we are in the School of Electrical Engineering. But since we are all working on the ICT sector in general, then we eventually set up a joint master's program. And then under that master's program, you have different majors. And here today we are talking about the major called communications engineering. It's maybe an old-fashioned term, but I'll take you in a few slides. I'll fill you in on what it means in reality. But the fundamental point of the whole program is ICT. And ICT itself, as you know, is really, making the digital revolution happen. And in that sense, transforming our way of life. Whether it's for the better or the worse, I'll let you decide. Some of it is for the worse, some of it is for the better, but changing anyway. And now, if you think about it, you are all, or we are all remotely here, having this webinar and hopefully being able to exchange some ideas and questions later. So all that happens because of communications and networking. That's what makes this possible, to have these networks, these mobile networks and so forth happening. And if I give you an example, some of you might be joining this webinar through mobile networks. I could almost claim that mobile networks happened because of Aalto. Because Aalto's predecessor, so the Helsinki University of Technology, has built and trained, radio and network engineers for Nokia and Ericsson for over 30 years. So those guys have been at the forefront of defining, first of all, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and now working on 6G. So, but probably without the engineers that came out from Otaniemi, we wouldn't have that type of mobile network technology at all. Or at least I would claim it would be much more crappy than it's today. But anyway, so we are training those experts here, but not just radio, but also other topics. So if you take the next slide. An important thing about our education here is that, as Riku already mentioned, we are trying to be flexible as much as possible, and in that sense have a relaxed atmosphere. But so this is not kind of an old-fashioned school where you sit in a lecture room and then teacher gives you a lecture of 2 hours and then you go home. But we really try to kind of, on one hand, combine, of course, fundamental topics, because you need to know the kind of basics in areas and the basic fundamentals, but also integrating the latest state-of-the-art research results in the teaching. So our researchers, postdocs, professors, they are not sitting in their offices and doing research, but they also take part in teaching. And through that, you get the most state-of-the-art knowledge. Some of our research topics are brought in courses and as practice assignments and so forth. In addition, of course, in engineering, you typically want to build stuff that actually works or runs or does things. So to support that, we have various labs, really state-of-the-art equipment. and we are kind of proud that we are investing a lot yearly in just maintaining that infrastructure. One example of that infrastructure is, for example, a 5G testbed. So I'm not aware of any university in Europe which would have its own 5G network.
Yeah, so there are many sort of 5G test networks here and there, but I mean, in our case, we are running the network ourselves, so it's not an operating network on campus.
I was coming to that because at least our friends on the other side of the sea, so the Swedes, I guess in KTH, they have some 5G network which is run by operators and industry personnel. And let's say they've had certain challenges in being able to play with it and do things and do research. But for us, if we want to do a change, then we just do it. So it's fully run, fully set up, fully managed by us, because we have our own license and equipment from Nokia in terms of the radio side, and then we have built our own virtual network behind that. So it's just a brilliant platform, and I've heard that people outside of Finland like to use our network to do experiments and studies. So it's also offered to outside research groups to do experimentation. So next slide. So in terms of study topics, so now we talked a lot about radio and communications, 5G, so forth, but that's just one, not necessarily small, but one part of what the whole communications engineering and especially our Department of Communications and Networking is about. So we are probably one, if not the only department in Europe and area or program area which gives you the flexibility to study the full circle or full stack, if you will, in this networking area. Because on one hand you can study very low level theoretical radio topics, signal processing, physical layer things, but you can also study things like related to networks and how do you manage network, how do you do programmable software-driven networks, how do you build services and so forth, transport layer topics. You can specialize in wearable computing, ambient intelligence, like smart buildings and things like that. So kind of embedded intelligence, human-centric systems, so UIs, human-computer interactions, so how people really interact with these devices. Green and sustainable ICT, a huge topic and hugely important for Aalto, and of course our whole planet, which is also at the heart of our courses and also our research. But then on one hand, you can also, if you think about from the lowest level, you can study and do research in how you transfer bits in a network or over the air. Then you can also go up to the level of how do you transmit money. So who pays who? Where do the euros or dollars or pounds or what have you go? So someone builds a service somewhere, pays someone. How is money routed in this whole ecosystem and all those types of topics. How do you make business out of 5G and so forth? So it's not kind of that straightforward. So in that sense, we offer kind of the full stack, from very hardcore technology to more soft human-centric topics, and even down to business topics.
Yeah, indeed. And this sort of technology is changing. So the communication systems they were used to be just for transferring bits, but now there is more and more sensing capabilities in those same devices. So hence understanding the world in more general sense, and then adding the intelligence, and then thinking, okay, you can build whatever services, but if you can't commercialize it, then it has very little impact on the society. So we understand also the techno-economic side of things.
Yeah. So what was your area, Riku?
Yeah, I'm the one who transfers bits over the wireless channel.
Yeah, and I'm mostly in the networks and mobile services side, and also green and sustainable ICT. So I have a computer science background. So when the head of our department is more electrical engineering, then for me, electricity is, blue, and it comes from the wall socket, and that's electricity to me. And, I try to focus on the ICT stuff and services and things like that. But anyway, that's the kind of the point of this slide, to give you an understanding that, it's a huge range of topics that you can study here. Maybe it's even a too wide range, but, that's what we try to give you, the freedom to study what really interests you. So next slide. So that this is just, very, very quick, short summary of what the degree structure is. So it's basically 3 parts. There's the major, which has a certain amount of common courses, and then you can specialize. And there is a flexibility that, you can do different courses and different specializations. So kind of we want you to study what you believe is motivating and interesting, and what kind of, because so you have different backgrounds and different wishes and different ideas. So you decide what interests you the most. And then you have elective studies where you can study other topics, not necessarily in your major, for example, entrepreneurship or things like that. So if someone is interested in, starting his own startup and company, then you might find courses here that will support that.
Yeah, I guess quite many of our students take some machine learning courses from computer science courses.
Yeah, that's popular. But anyway, you kind of had the freedom to study what you believe is, most interesting for you, and in what direction you want to focus your expertise in. And then 1/4 of the credits goes to kind of doing the master thesis itself.
And in this marketing materials, what you have seen, there's always this nice summer pictures, but here's how a campus looks during the winter.
Yeah, for the time being, but with global warming,
less and less now. Yeah.
We might be, not seeing that anymore. But
last winter it was.
Well, I mean, the white makes, of course, everything more clear and bright and so forth. So in the heart of winter, some snow isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, if there are no snow, then it's very dark.
Yeah. So this is kind of just how would I say it, monsters galleries, except for U, then that's mainly the monsters gallery. But just give some face to people who are working here, and some of these names might look Finnish or foreign to you, but we have also international staff here in the professor category, and of course in the doctoral students and other staff. It's very international actually. I don't know if most of our doctoral students currently are actually international.
Yeah, they are.
I think so they are, yeah. Yeah, but here you can also see a bit of the topics that people are working, and so of course one of our key achievements is that one of our professors is the dean of the whole school. So we have our own agent in the upper management of the school. But anyway, so wireless communications, network, green ICT topics, then this wearable computing, ambient intelligence, then the communications ecosystem, which is, as mentioned, maybe more about how you transfer and route money in the whole thing. And then, of course, Antti Aulasvirta, a huge, world-renowned expert in the human-computer interaction area. So
yeah, and especially looking at it from computational user interface design. So I mean, traditionally, user interface design is that somebody draws something and shows that, okay, I have this kind of user interface, but how good is that? You can actually measure it and use cognition theory, information theory, and optimize with combinatorial optimization.
Yeah,
user interface, and that's how he links to our department and not somewhere else. Yeah. The tools that he uses, and that also Antti is also very much active in this sort of artificial intelligence research area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I guess a few slides still from my side. Yes. Yeah. So in terms of career opportunities, so actually the whole Otaniemi campus, and even more so, is really kind of the Silicon Valley of Finland, if you will. I mean, we are in the capital area. We have, like, of course, Nokia headquarters here, just a few kilometers from our campus is the big Nokia site. but then of course Ericsson, which is a big research group and development site here in Finland, but also hundreds of companies on campus and within a few kilometers from the campus. So this is really the kind of focal point of ICT in Finland.
I think Ericsson Finland site has been here more than 100 years now. So that was the first sort of company that Ericsson bought, was one Finnish company making tabletop telephones.
Okay.
It's a very long presence.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, since this is kind of the heart, then of course we really work closely with various industry, companies, and in that sense they offer internship positions. Of course, nowadays that ICT is even more topical than ever before. Then they are always hunting for talent from us, and always trying to get our students to join their ranks. Sometimes a bit too early than but it's a kind of a happy problem in the sense that our students are really well employed.
And there seems to be really a high demand for experts.
Yeah, too high demand, because they don't even get doctoral students because they're always hired.
Or they don't finish, or postdocs stay on short time. And
so in that sense, it's not a happy problem for us. It's a happy problem for the students and the companies, but not for us here, because we also would like to get good talent to our research. Okay, I guess I have a few slides about research career, and then I'll pass on to Riku and Eva maybe. But some of our students are also interested in kind of a research career. And of course, research career doesn't mean that you end up being like us professors in a university, but anyway, kind of taking their knowledge deeper and being able to invent something really novel in this world. And in that sense, some of course are so driven that already in their master's degree they start looking at their potential courses and topics for doctoral studies, and it's not one or two students who have continued, for example, the master's topic directly as a dissertation. So often these, the most brilliant people, they continue the master's thesis topic directly as a research and do their dissertation on that topic. Maybe somewhat different than in many countries, research work can also be carried out in the industry. So it's not that, it has to be in a research group, because for us, you do research, you do publications, it can be, your affiliation can be Aalto or Nokia or Ericsson or some other companies. So it doesn't really matter as long as you get to do interesting research which is novel and appreciated in the scientific community. And of course here, with the Aalto brand and name and the interaction at the Finnish the industry, then let's say our PhD alumni are pretty well set in the industry and in the universities around the world. So I believe they are highly appreciated. In terms of study topics, it's kind of similar than in the doctoral studies in terms of our study topics in general. So there is a flexibility that whether you want to look at the next evolution of mobile technologies going to 6G. I guess no one has not yet launched 7G, but let's see. Someone will.
Actually, I got when I applied for one project, it was related to quantum communications, and the reviewer said that this is beyond 7G. So I'm doing beyond 7G research.
So you are doing 7G already?
Now beyond 7G.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so
at least according to the reviewer.
So 5G is old stuff, and 6G is even older, and all the brilliant people do 7G. Okay, that's good to know. But there's different topics that you can work on. So in that sense, it's not that restricted here that what you can work on. As long as you do interesting research in the general sector of ICT, then all good. And maybe the incremental radical refers to these dissertations and doctoral work, which can be on one hand incremental, that you are extending certain things or you might be thinking of totally new radical things, and both work off as well in as a research and scientific contributions. Was that the last slide on the?
Yeah, maybe just again elaborate one example of an alumni. So Farah Sola was my student. He studied in 2016 and 2018, and we have this honors program available in the department. So from the selected students, we offered the honors position to some of the top candidates. So they get to work 1 day per week at the lab, in the research group. So she was working with us. Then she took a summer internship at Nokia Bell Labs. And then she found a thesis topic there as well, and did thesis at Nokia Bell Labs. And now she's working as the 5G hard real-time software engineering at Nokia. And basically looking at how to implement this wireless communication systems for reliable, low latency communication stuff on the real radio platforms. And she has been also very active in building community, like advocating programming for women and such. This is just an example of a career path of an alumni. I mean, we could have, of course, list many other stories. I just wanted to bring her up because she's also active not only in her industrial career, but also needs kind of reach out activities. So sort of helping us to advocate the programming education. Okay, maybe now I give the floor to Eva.
Yes, so okay, a few words about the student life. Under our student union AYY, there are numerous organizations and clubs. So that, like I think it was mentioned before already, that the student life in the campus is very vivid. And then about the housing, few affordable options. The student union offers apartments for students, and then the foundation for student housing in Helsinki area is also one option, and there's a link to our housing page where you can take a look at that. Then we have a free student healthcare service that provides general and dental health for students. And then we have good sport facilities in the campus for students as well, and also in the whole Helsinki area with this Unisport. Okay, I think that was it about the student.
And then how to apply.
Yeah, then about the admissions. So the basic information. You can find all of this in our admission services page. The link is here. Our application period is ongoing once a year, and now the next application period will start on 3rd December, 1st of December and end on 3rd of January. And from the admission service page, you can find all of the application instructions, information about the scholarships and tuition fees, and all the information about the admission requirements.
Okay, so now we have been speaking for a long time, but now it's time for you to ask questions.
Should we take those questions from the chat one by one?
Yeah, probably. Eva, can you see the chat?
I mean, maybe to Swadesh was asking about the software programming languages used in this program in collaborative communication systems. So our department does itself, C and C++ programming. So if you think about it, when we are programming something that close to the hardware, then that's pretty much always C, sometimes C++. But then, of course, since Aalto has a kind of flexible study structure, then there you have, of course, Python and Java programming and things like that you can take more from the CS computer science courses. So there's a very wide range of languages, but let's say that I'm a C programmer myself, so I have taught C programming for a long time, and most of my lines of code have been C itself. So, and I guess for Riku also,
in my group, we have been building this Cloud Run, basically implementations of 4G, 5G base stations now using C++. So mainly C for the function, but C++ just to get the kind of a little bit more structure for the code. But then we also use MATLAB. So typically when we are trying to implement some algorithmic things, then we first implement them to MATLAB to get the kind of right reference, what kind of how the system should behave, and also MATLAB is used for research purposes. It is kind of used also, even we write code with C, then we use MATLAB for debugging purposes to see like, okay, now this frame structure is actually correct, like that.
Right, everybody else but me, I've never used MATLAB ever, but not that I'm a computer scientist, and these are the hardcore electrical engineers. So
so MATLAB is needed when you go to the physical layer, but maybe when you go higher up, you don't really need it.
Yeah. There was a second question: do this program provide an opportunity to go to IT or communications field? I mean, you decide. Because I mean,
because there's actually kind of a converge that has happened. So the IT and communications engineering used to be quite separate fields when we were talking about this plain old telephony systems and what kind of voltages are in the cable. But nowadays everything is running in computer and virtualized. Even the baseband software of base stations, it's just software. So everything is software. And everywhere is network. So also like, look, even go to the radio, then the front hall you already are dealing with networks. So,
if you remember the slide I showed you about the full circle and full stack, then you can study anything from low-level bit things to software to human-computer interaction to even routing money in this network. So, and I don't mean bitcoins here, but normal money.
Although we do have this blockchain-related research going on as well.
And I have actually a PhD student finalizing his work, which is about these types of topics. But there was some question about session for interested PhD candidate. I guess for that we don't have a specific session, because for doctoral studies, of course, one question. I mean, we kind of can accept many different students with different backgrounds. There is no kind of single admission round for doctoral studies. The biggest question is, of course, the funding, that if you want to do doctoral studies and do research, then in doing a doctoral thesis, I mean, the study part is this much of the whole work. I'm sorry, I'm upside down, but that's Zoom's fault. But it's very small, the study part. I mean, 80-90% of the work is your research work, and that's kind of your daily work, if you will. So the question with doctoral studies and PhD studies is that what is your funding? I mean, our research groups can fund a few students now and then, but we cannot fund all our queries. I get questions at least weekly, if not several times per week, on potential PhD candidates, but we don't have the possibilities to support you. But if you have your own way of supporting, then it's possible to apply.
And we actually do open positions quite often. Whenever there is a project funding. But basically, if you are interested in doing PhD, then depending on what kind of degree you have. So if your bachelor degree in your home country makes you eligible for doctoral studies, then you probably could apply directly to the doctoral studies. Otherwise, you need to do the master's first. If you are eligible, then you can basically contact one of the professors at Aalto whom you would like to work with, and then ask from him if he has opportunities, or if you have your own funding to support, then you can start negotiations on with professors who would be the supervisor for your doctoral studies. But to become a doctoral student, it's a student, it's kind of starts with the direct negotiation between the student and the potential supervisor.
Yeah, what's next? That was the PhD. Then about other programs under CCIS, I guess all of these different programs have their own webinars. So I don't know.
They have. Yeah, so there are several different options. There's the computer science, macadamia, which is the machine learning program, human-computer interaction, signal speech, and audio processing,
acoustics, I guess.
Acoustics, yeah. At least those, and then also we have the EIT digital programs. For instance, you are running one of those.
Yeah.
The cloud and network structure.
Yeah. Then there was a question about criteria for students to be accepted, and then do you need to have profound programming skills? Of course, profound is a relative term. What is profound? I mean, of course, people who apply have a bachelor's degree, so we cannot expect them to be masters and being able to teach programming. I mean, they are of course still in the learning phase, but if you don't have any ICT, any programming, any networks in your degree, then it's a bit difficult to take master's level courses which expect a certain background. I don't know if Eva, you want to fill in or Riku on this.
Yeah, maybe I could mention that in the communications engineering admission page, the evaluation criteria of this major is there if you want to go and take a look at it in detail.
But basically, I mean, in most works or careers in communications engineering, some level of programming is needed, whether it's MATLAB programming or it's C programming that might or whatever Java. But maybe if you would really like just focus on theory and do a PhD on information theory on combinatorial structures of codes or something, well, there you still need some programming because to be able to simulate things. So forth. So the programming is kind of a skill that is needed.
Yeah.
And actually nowadays, even almost all engineering areas, programming is needed. So then if you feel that you are not very comfortable with your programming skills, of course, we do offer several programming courses which you could take as an elective.
Yeah. What is the class needed to apply for this master's? Now I'm not sure what this means.
So basically, just there needs to be either computer science or electrical engineering or related.
Right.
Yeah, I would interpret it in that way. So, that is the requirements. I guess it's in the page also. Eva can say what exactly it is, but it is basically computer science, electrical engineering, communications engineering, signal processing.
ICT in general.
Anything ICT. Maybe not. Maybe excluding perhaps this information systems sciences, which is like more about general systems.
It depends, of course, on the courses. As mentioned, because we teach here advanced courses, so if you don't have any of the background knowledge, then it's pretty much impossible for you to succeed in these master's level courses if you don't have, if your skills are related to using a mobile phone and laptop and using Microsoft Word and Excel. So you need to understand also the theories and basic principles of networking and programming and so forth. So that we cannot teach you in this. If you remember the slide on the study structure, there's 90 credits of everything, including all your optional, elective courses and stuff. So that's not enough to kind of teach you everything from ground up. So you need to have a background in the ICT sector. Will we have the opportunity to apply for a scholarship? Do Do you want to ever comment on the?
Yeah, you can apply for the scholarship at the same time when you do the application for the master's program. So,
right, yeah.
In short.
I guess there's a question, do you have to have excellent programming skills to enter this program? No. Just that, let's say those who have excellent will find our courses easier, and those who don't have may need to learn and spend more time on the courses. But the point is to have some touch on programming and how you build stuff, and then we'll kind of take you further and extend your expertise in that. But I mean, don't take it that from the perspective that need to be a hardcore programmer to join us. No, but as Riku mentioned, some knowledge is needed.
But I would guess that most engineering degrees these days have the basic programming courses. So should just, if you have those, then you just need to start using it. It's like any language that you need to, in order to master it, you need to start using it. So it's fine, as long as you have the basics and willing to learn more.
Okay, there's a lot of questions. Let's try to answer. Someone asking about spouse accompanying to Helsinki gets admitted. I don't know about those.
I guess everybody needs to apply separately. So
I don't know if Eva knows about applying, residence permits or stuff.
I think it depends a lot where you are coming from, but
right, yeah.
I don't think we can answer to that much more specifically here.
Yeah, maybe it's good to take. Is the Migri is the place where
immigration service.
The exact conditions from which country you are coming.
Then there's a question about how many scholarships, and then can you continue PhD after a Master of Science? If I take the PhD first, and maybe Eva can comment on the scholarships. But as an example, how would I say? Maybe 80% of my PhD students have done their masters with me. So at least in the past, there's a lot of them continued their masters topic with me, and in that sense continued directly the topic towards a dissertation and doctoral degree. I guess, Riku, you have also many of those.
Yeah, so our students definitely are welcome to continue their their studies as doctoral studies if they are interested. So they definitely at least have the skills required to do the doctoral studies. So.
Yeah. Still, companies often steal them before that.
Yes. Typically after the first summer, then they go to a summer intern. Vanish to industry.
Before Nokia and Ericsson steals them from us. But do you want to comment on the scholarship amounts, Eva?
This depends on the amount of applications we get from the tuition fee liable students. So we cannot really say beforehand.
But it's anyway tens.
Yeah.
Tens at least. It's not a single digit, but double digit number anyway.
Yeah.
I wonder if the next one is that does the CCIS conduct offline learning or still online distance? Some courses already are on or are physical. I guess Kalle had his course physical, and I guess from turn of the year, I guess everything is pretty much physical, I guess.
Well, we are supporting hybrid learning.
Yeah.
But you can have maybe some parts, or some people could be remote on some at the campus. But especially, those courses where some hands-on stuff is done. So we have courses that require access to the laboratory or doing things that then being present is much easier than trying to do that remote. But during this COVID times, we have of course learned how to do everything online as well. But I guess now we are in the hybrid mode, and probably we will keep continuing supporting more of these sort of pre-recorded videos or lectures, because just a normal lecture perhaps It's not that interactive thing, but that's where we want to have this kind of on-campus things is the exercise sessions and this kind of laboratory works and hands-on stuff. So where there's really a lot to benefit from being able to be present here on the campus. Also, I guess initially for the students, it's beneficial to visit the campus in order to meet other peers and form networks.
Yeah. There's, I guess, two more questions. One is about the, maybe I'll tackle the latter one, and then there's for Eva again, what the scholarship covers. But there was a question about if someone has a bachelor's in electronics and holding 9 years of experience in IT field. Let's say that, you know, when in our evaluation, first is your degree. So let's say if you have a degree in chemistry, but you have been working as a programmer, then you wouldn't be our prime candidate because we don't see that your theoretical background is enough to take our courses. But if you have a, you know, bachelor's in, you know, electronics, telecommunications, and in addition have been working in the field, then you probably would be one of our highest ranking, you know, applicants. Of course, your degree structure and degree success matters here. So if all your grades are in the, you know, depends on your grading scale, but let's say that the B, C, D, E category, so barely made through the course, then of course that would raise questions from our side, that does the candidate have kind of enough knowledge to succeed in our courses? Because of course for us very important is that, you know, you also pass the courses, not that you come to Finland and never pass the courses because you didn't have the background. So in that sense, we try to select students we believe are able to pass also our courses. It's not like they are extremely difficult, but just if you miss the background knowledge, then they will be difficult.
But then if you can somehow show that you have the background knowledge obtained after the degree, then you can also take that into account. So the motivation letter is very important, and taking, maybe if you have taken courses from some of the, even if it's not a degree, but if you have taken university courses, then we of course will look at those grades. Or if you are in the situation that, okay, your bachelor didn't went very well, but you have been now working for a while and would like to continue your studies, then you could think of the possibility, for instance, even to take some of our courses with just take a few courses to show that, okay, you can actually pass them, and then we apply next year, and we would of course appreciate that okay, we see that you have the motivation and skill to do study.
Yeah, was the last question to Eva on the...
Yeah, about the living cost scholarship for EU students. We have this new Finland scholarship for master students, but this is a living cost scholarship, but it's meant for non-EU students. So at the moment we don't have any other.
But then we have no tuition fees for use.
Yeah.
Either, so it's free. So it's just paid for living.
Right. Yeah, so it's only the living cost, and then you get free education on the Finnish taxpayers. So that's how the thing works. So you get free education from that. EU students get the free education. Any more questions? I hope we answered all of them. If I see the chat, and
I think so. Yes.
Did I miss any? I think I hope we answered all of your questions. Yeah. I hope we answered. If you still have something, you throw a question, or let's say in the next minute or so, or then.
Yeah. And now, I mean, later on you can contact me or Eva if you have questions.
Yeah.
By email.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you can ask, of course. I don't see anyone.
Okay, if not, then anything. Thank you for attending this session, and I really hope that many of you find was interesting and apply, and I would like to welcome you and meet you in Finland when the next term starts.
And of course, pass the words to your, fellow, study buddies and, friends. It's, of course, it's often nice to, apply and come with a friend than, by yourself. But just pass the word.
Okay, so thank you for attending and have a great day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.